Television with live news from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues royal directives to the Diwan of the Royal Court to finance for the establishments of 6 priority schools. Over 670,000 male and female students starts the blended learning in the new academic year in various governorates of the Sultanate. The COVID-19 Supreme Committee in a meeting reviews the latest updates of the pandemic. And the Royal Guard of Oman marks its annual day. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Diwan of the Royal Court issued today a statement as follows. Within the context of the attention accorded by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to the education sector and His Majesty's keenness to provide a supportive environment for education and to empower it with all means, since it is the mainstay of nation building now and in the future. His Majesty the Sultan has issued his royal directives to the Diwan of the Royal Court to finance the establishment of 6 priority schools at an estimated cost of 8.85 million Omani Riyals for the coming period. Her Excellency Dr. Madiha bint Ahmed al-Shaybaniya, Minister of Education, stressed that the directives of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq regarding the Diwan of the Royal Court to finance the establishments of 6 priority schools came within His Majesty's keenness to provide an environment that supports education and to enhance the efforts of the Ministry in fulfilling the needs of schools buildings that contribute in educating the students around the Sultanate. Her Excellency also pointed out that this generous gesture reflected the belief of His Majesty in education and its role in building nations, as well as the significance of providing all the means to deliver the education message. On the occasion of the start of the new academic year 2020-2021, Her Excellency the Minister of Education forwarded her greetings and best wishes to the teachers, the faculty members and the students, praying to Allah the Almighty to make this year successful where blended and remote learning are being used. Students throughout the Sultanate have started their new academic year 2020-2021 following intensive preparations to ensure safety of students, teachers and other staff while the country continues to battle COVID-19 pandemic. More details in the following report. Nearly 700,000 Omani students started schools today for the academic year 2020-2021 with a mix of classroom and online learning for the students of government and private schools amid the coronavirus pandemic. The Minister of Education is taking all steps to guarantee the safety of students, teachers and other staff. It is expected that around 676,943 students will take part in the blended education under the guidance of 56,613 teachers, even as the country continues to battle the COVID-19 that delayed the start of the academic year by nearly 2 months.
We gladly came back to school and we host our students today, only grade 12 students. We divided these students into 2 groups. Group come this week, which is Group A, and Group B comes next week. And in every class, there are only 15 students, to keep distance. And we aware our students to wear masks, and also they keep distance at everywhere they go at school.
My duty as a social worker is to educate and to give awareness to the students related to the coronavirus and the school community, as well give them positive message. Yes, it's a new experience, but together we teachers and students will pass this situation.
According to Abdullah Khamis Ambu Saidi, and Secretary of the Ministry of Education, the ministry continues to work with telecommunications companies to provide internet packages for schools. He said that school hours for students in grades 1 to 4 will be between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., grades 5 to 11 between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., and for grade 12 between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m.
We followed many procedures to avoid the infections of COVID-19. Among them is that we put 16 students in each class. We also put about 15 students in each bus also. In the break, we told the students to get away from each other about 1.5 meters social distance between the students. In the classrooms also, as I mentioned, 16 students in each class. We gave them many instructions to avoid getting the virus.
As we know, due to this coronavirus, we are obliged to divide the students into groups, and we try hard to persuade them in order to use their masks, wash their hands, use the gel, and especially try to communicate by distance. And they are really very comprehensive since they are in grade 12.
Oman Television will telecast lessons for grade 12 daily on weekdays between 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Schedules for school classes on TV are available at the ministry's website. It is estimated that around 82% of schools will implement an e-learning system, while 10% will follow blended education, and the rest will have full attendance in schools. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television. The Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments, His Excellency Sayyid Hamoud bin Faisal bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of the Interior, Chairman of the committee, headed the meeting of the committee with the attendance of Their Excellencies, the members of the committee. The meeting was held at the General Diwan of the Ministry of Interior, and it discussed developments of this pandemic in the local and global level, preventive measures and means of limiting its spread. This came within the framework of the committee's follow-up of the procedures related to the testing those coming to the Sultanate. It also reviewed proposed paper from the Ministry of Health to the Ministry of Interior, which includes the entry conditions to the Sultanate, and it decided that it's mandatory for all those coming to the Sultanate from all entry points must undergo PCR test within a period not exceeding 96 hours before entering the Sultanate. They must also undergo another PCR test in the Sultanate and adhere to the quarantine for 7 days, and to repeat the PCR test on the 8th day. The committee also decided to open doors for volunteering work in the national efforts to combat COVID-19 pandemic. It also decided to assign Their Excellencies, the Walis, to start registering those willing to contribute in this noble national work according to conditions that will be announced at a later date. May Allah the Almighty protect everyone. In order to make it easy for students to reach educational content virtually, Ashil platform continues to provide virtual educational environment through various concurrent and non-concurrent stages. The platform advances classes on curriculum, mock test and detailed reviews for classes throughout the semester, in addition to final tests. You are with the Sultanate of Oman Television, and later to come in our news bulletin, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources launched the Date Palm Genetic Bank at the University of Nizwa. Once again, welcome to the Sultanate of Oman television. Algerians were voting today on whether to approve a revised constitution that offers more democracy following the ousting of the country's serving autocratic president last year. Some 23.5 million Algerian voters are eligible to take part in the vote, though turnout is expected to be low. Critics of the new constitutions are calling for a boycott as they were barred from campaign venues or from expressing their views on public television or radio. To help ease coronavirus concerns, voting stations were disinfected for the referendum and voters were required to wear masks. The referendum is taking place on the 68th anniversary of the beginning of Algeria's war for independence from France. For many Algerians, the most dramatic new measure is one allowing the Algerian military to intervene abroad in a United Nations or African Union peacekeeping operations, a major change from the current doctrine of non-interference. Now, all the way to the United Kingdom, England faces a new month-long lockdown after being warned that without tough action, a resurgent coronavirus outbreak will overwhelm hospitals in weeks. And with one British government minister acknowledging today that the lockdown could be extended and a normal Christmas seem unlikely. On the day the UK passed 1 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, Prime Minister Boris Johnson made a sudden about-face and confirmed that stringent restrictions on business and daily life would begin Thursday and last until December 2nd. Business leaders are warning that they need to see a clear exit plan from a lockdown that, if extended, have serious consequences for thousands of firms. Critics said the long-term damage to the economy would have a greater impact on society than the virus itself. Emergency workers continued working on a collapsed building in western Turkey today, some 34 hours after a strong earthquake in the Aegean Sea struck Turkey and Greece, killing 44 and injuring more than 900 people. Authorities raised the death toll in Izmir, Turkey, third largest city, to 44 as rescuers pulled more bodies out of toppled buildings. 2 teenagers were killed on Friday on the Greek island of Samos and at least 19 others were injured. The Friday afternoon earthquake had a magnitude of 6.9 and was centered in the Aegean northeast of Samos. It hit at a depth of some 16 kilometers. A small tsunami was triggered in the Seferi Hasar districts of Izmir, drowning 1 elderly woman, and on the Greek island, the tremors were felt across western Turkey, including in Istanbul, as well as the Greek capital Athens. Hundreds aftershocks also followed. And in Philippines, a super typhoon slammed into the eastern Philippines with ferocious winds early today, and about 1 million people have been evacuated in its projected path, including in the capital, where the main international airport was ordered closed. Typhoon Goni hit the island province of Catanduanes at dawn with sustained winds of 225 kilometers per hour and a gust of 280 kilometers per hour. It was blowing west towards densely populated regions, including Manila, the densely populated capital region of more than 13 million, and rain-soaked provinces still recovering from a typhoon that hit a week ago and left at least 22 dead. Residents have been warned of likely landslides, massive flooding, storm surges of more than 5 meters, and ferocious wind that can blow away shanties. One of the most powerful typhoons in the world this year, Goni, has evoked memories of Typhoon Haiyan in November 2013, which left more than 7,300 people dead and missing, flattened entire villages, swept ships inland, and displaced more than 5 million in the central Philippines. Back here in the Sultanate, Royal Guard of Oman marks today its annual day, which falls on the 1st of November every year amid continuous development and modernization being witnessed by Royal Guard of Oman in equipment and systems. In this day, let His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Saeed, may Allah rest his soul in peace, handed over the Spekuak banner of Royal Guard of Oman, opening a new chapter in its history and the beginning of its modernization and development march to be an important military establishment in the Sultanate. It was provided with all weaponry and equipment to undertake its national tasks and serve the country under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander. The Minister of Health announced that the total number of recorded infections with coronavirus in the Sultanate is 115,734, while the total number of deaths reached 1,246 cases. The total of those recovered reached 105,700 cases, and the cure rate is set at 91.3%. The ministry stated that the number of inpatients during the past 24 hours have reached 20, and the total number of hospitalized patients reached 389 cases. Of them, 175 cases are in intensive care units. As part of celebration of the Tree Day, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources launched the Date Palm Genetic Bank at University of Nizwa. It will help to support research in the field of date palm production. The Sultanate marks the day along with other countries in the world, which falls on the 31st of October amid national agricultural strategies and projects that ensure food security. The total agricultural and animal production in 2019 amounted to around 4 million tons. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues royal directives to the Diwan of the Royal Court to finance for the establishment of 6 priority schools. Over 670,000 male and female students starts their blended learning in the new academic year in various governorates of the Sultanate. The COVID-19 Supreme Committee in a meeting reviews the latest updates of the pandemic. And the Royal Guard of Oman marks its annual day. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening, and good night.